Kenny was the best. The best.
I don't normally like guys. It's actually like really rare for me since Kenny.
He was like a godsend.
Diesel LaTorraca, who plays Little Austin on Ginny and Georgia, recently opened up about how his character's noticeable growth spurt might factor into the story for Season 4. As fans know, Austin is supposed to be around 9 years old, Georgia's youngest and Ginny's kid brother, but LaTorraca himself is already 14. So even though Austin stayed the same age across 3 seasons, the actor has clearly grown up in real life, which has sparked plenty of online jokes. Luckily, LaTorraca has taken all the ribbing in stride and continues to be a great sport about it. When he chatted up with Screen Rant's Tatiana Hollander, LaTorraca admitted he's honestly not too sure yet how the new season will handle Austin's age. The plan is that Season 4 will pick up after Ginny comes back from her summer trip to Korea, which naturally means Austin will have aged a little in that time. But if push does come to shove and he is still a little bubba, LaTorraca joked, "I can try my best to look like a 9-year-old. He also mentioned Austin should technically be 10 by now anyway. Beyond just how old Austin looks, LaTorraca shared what he hopes will happen with Austin's story. He thinks it'll be really interesting to see Austin processing everything that went down in Season 3, maybe even in a rebellious way. I wouldn't mind seeing him do a few bad things," he said. Given all the heavy stuff Austin's been through, it wouldn't be weird to see him acting out a bit, doing something a little naughty. It would actually make a lot of sense. So what do LaTorraca's comments tell us about Austin in Season 4? It seems pretty likely that Austin is going to have to grow up fast. The internet has already had a field day with jokes about Austin's age difference, and LaTorraca has even leaned into it on his TikTok, poking fun at his own growth spurt. By getting in on the humor himself, he's made the obvious age gap between him and Austin way easier for fans to just roll with. As he pointed out, he can still play Austin as a kid without too much trouble. Plus, if Austin really does start to rebel in Season 4, it'll actually be easier for him as more of an angsty preteen than a little kid. That would line up nicely with the show's big themes about trauma and how these kids are forced to deal with way more than they should at their age. The hint that Season 4 starts after a summer break gives them a perfect excuse to let Austin grow a bit. Kids can change a lot between 9 and 10, so a slight jump isn't going to feel that weird. And if Austin starts lashing out or acting tougher, it'll be even simpler to buy LaTorraca in the role. Basically, watching him deal with the fallout from everything that happened, like witnessing Georgia kill Tom Fuller and then being pushed to blame it all on Gillis, is going to shape him in ways that could easily make him seem older. It would also help the audience accept the fact that he's clearly not 9 anymore. Speaking of what's next, Brianne Howie, who plays Georgia, also recently dropped some exciting news about Season 4. The show actually got a 2-season renewal back in 2023, which means Season 4 was already guaranteed while they were still working on Season 3. The writers started tackling the scripts for the new season earlier this year, and in a chat with Collider's Ladies' Night, Howie revealed that filming should kick off later this year. She talked about how it was a total gift to know the show would continue even before Season 3 had aired. It let her relax a little bit and really dive into the story without stressing over whether there'd be another chance to finish Georgia's arc. It's such a privilege, and it's not a situation I've ever been in before. It was so thrilling, she said. You can almost relax a little bit and knowing we have more story to tell. You got to trust the process a little bit more because you know what certain payoffs are going to be. That level of security meant she could really commit to all the messy, dramatic layers of Georgia's character. So what does that mean for fans? Well, it might mean we won't have to wait nearly as long for Season 4. Netflix originals are famous, or maybe infamous, for making fans wait 2 or 3 years between seasons. Ginny and Georgia has been no exception so far. We had to wait roughly 2 years between Season 1 and Season 2, then another 2.5 years for Season 3. But this is the first time the show's had that double renewal safety net, and Howie's comments make it sound like things are already moving along faster than before. Collider reported that filming a typical 10-episode season takes about 5 months, with post-production needing around 9 more. So if Netflix decides to keep the hype alive and speeds things up a bit, we could be looking at a premiere at the end of next year or early 2027. That would mean an 18-month wait or so, way shorter than last time, which would be awesome for fans who are already eager for more. Now let's talk theories. By the end of season 3, it was pretty clear Georgia is not exactly winning any Mother of the Year awards. She loves her kids fiercely and will do literally anything to protect them, but the truth is, she's never been able to protect them from herself. Austin deciding he had to put his dad in jail to save his mom, and Ginny pressuring him to do it, is just one way Georgia's chaotic parenting has created a toxic mess. Even though Ginny has spent so long trying not to turn into her mom, season 3 hinted she might be heading down that same dark path. That's why it wouldn't be surprising if season 4 flips the script. Georgia might actually try to clean up her act, maybe even run for mayor against Paul. That kind of drama writes itself because Ginny steps into full-on schemer mode. With another baby in the mix and even more family secrets, it's going to be a total powder keg. Watching Austin deal with his guilt through all of this should be heartbreaking, but fascinating. Georgia running for mayor feels like a storyline the show's been setting up for a while. After all, Paul is a decent mayor, but a lot of his big wins only happened because Georgia was quietly pulling the strings. When he backed the allowance for chain restaurants, it was Georgia who stepped up to protect Wellsbury's small businesses. And remember that chat Georgia had with her neighbor? It made it pretty clear the town still loves her, maybe even more now that she's been found not guilty. Plus, Paul's kind of on his own these days. He doesn't even have Nick in his corner anymore, so if Georgia decides to run, it seems almost guaranteed she'd win. That would be the ultimate payback for Paul. He's not a bad guy and genuinely tried to support Georgia, but when she kept lying, he had to protect himself. His choice to very publicly divorce Georgia totally backfired when she was acquitted. Now he looks like the jerk who abandoned a domestic violence survivor right when she needed him most. If Georgia beats him for mayor, it'll destroy his career and be sweet poetic justice. It would sting even more if it turns out Georgia's baby is Joe's and not Paul's. Talk about adding salt to the wound. Aside from that, there are some other fixes fans are hoping for in season 4. One issue in season 3 was that the flashbacks just didn't pack the same punch as before. Seasons 1 and 2 used them to drop huge reveals about Georgia's past with Zion and Gil, or how she pulled off shady schemes to keep Ginny and Austin safe. But in season 3, the flashbacks mostly retread familiar ground, like Georgia and Zion struggling to make it work, or Georgia trying to make tough situations seem fun for her kids by doing things like car camping. It all felt a bit repetitive. The best flashbacks in season 3 actually came when the show shifted focus to Marcus and Max. Seeing them as kids added so much depth to their present-day struggles, especially Max's issues with never really being taken seriously because of her big personality. It would be great if season 4 continued this trend by diving into the pasts of other characters, maybe showing more about Marcus's friend who died young and how that shapes his depression. Season 4 could also finally explore Georgia's parents more. They've been teased as a major threat, especially after Georgia's dad called with a warning. Flashbacks that reveal the truth about Georgia's father, like whether he really tried to kill her or if her mother lied all along, would be a fantastic way to make those scenes feel important again. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.